special guest for you guys. Today it's a very special one for me, and I can't actually believe I'm doing this, but it's Natalie Pinkham from.
Woo!
So cheers for coming on, Natalie.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Cheers for coming on. As you can probably imagine, this is like, I would never have imagined this would be possible. But do you want to introduce yourself in case anybody doesn't know who you are, even though I doubt it very much?
Yeah, I'm Natalie Pinkham and I work for Sky Sports F1, and I have the great joy of travelling around the world with Sky, reporting and presenting on Formula One.
Yeah, so cheers for coming on, Natalie. As I said, when I started this journey 4 years ago, I never could have imagined that I'll be talking to you now. In fact, do you know when I first tweeted you, or when I first tweeted out the list, I sort of, and you responded, I sort of said, are you real, or did you see that one?
This is Wilfred. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so we it was lovely that you reached out. Wilfried, go. So it was lovely that you reached out to me, and great that you reached out via social media. It goes to show just how powerful and useful it is as a mechanism for contacting people and connecting our lovely F1 community, because that's what we are, aren't we? We're an F1 family, and everybody's got each other's backs. And I love the sense of coming together, collaborative efforts. Sorry about my son. What are you doing? I love the idea that we can come together wherever we are in the world and talk about the sport that we all love so much.
Yeah. So let's do that for a while. So you've been working for Sky for a while now, haven't you? So, but how did it all begin for you? Like, how did it all start for you? As in, where did the love?
So I remember first working for BBC 5 Live as the pit lane reporter, and I was nervous because I thought, I love Formula One, but I don't know whether being a fan of the sport is enough, because we're all passionate about sport and we love following sport around the world, but there's part of you that thinks, but could I actually work in it? I don't know. That's a big commitment. It's a lifestyle choice, isn't it? Because you're traveling so much. Go down there. He wants to stay. Sorry. So it's a big commitment. You're traveling around the world, and at one stage I was going to 21 races a year. And before I had kids, that was obviously much easier to do. Now I've got 2 children, so now it's a lot of juggling, but it's certainly worth it because we all love F1 in our family, so it's a family commitment.
Yeah. So how did it all come about? Like, how did you end up working for Sky, and how did it all come about?
So initially, after working for BBC 5 Live as their pit lane reporter, Sky Sports then came in and bought the rights to the sport. And I'd worked for Sky as a runner in the past, and I was terrible at making tea, by the way. Runners are supposed to make good cups of tea. I was terrible at it. And I think that's why they promoted me, just to say, just whatever you do, give her another job so that she doesn't have to make the tea anymore. Anyway, I knew one of the bosses from there, and I said, look, I love Formula One and I love Sky Sports, and now I've got an opportunity. The two have come together. And what was really nice was that we were able to I was able to go across to Sky with a number of my friends from the BBC. So David Croft, Anthony Davidson, Martin Brundle, Ted Kravitz. And so I had a nice support network there. And then already at Sky, Georgie Thompson and Simon Lazenby were old friends of mine. Georgie and I went to school together years ago. We went to boarding school together. So actually there was this like amazing coming together of a big group of friends. And certainly for the first couple of years, we just had such a laugh because, and we still do, don't get me wrong, we have a great time. But those first couple of years were this heady mix of travel, Formula One, going to parties, just having a great time, and all with some of your best friends on the planet. It felt very, very lucky.
Yeah. So what can you remember? What your first ever race was?
Yeah. So my first race would have been Australia in 2011. And my first job at that race was talking to Michael Schumacher, and he'd crashed out of the race. And I was so nervous. This is the great Michael Schumacher.
Yep.
And standing in front of me, and I had to ask him a question. And I remember literally my hands shaking because obviously he was in a really bad mood because he just crashed out of the race. So not only was I talking to the 7-time world champion, but I was him when he was in a bad mood. But he was lovely, and we were able to, obviously he'd been used to having ups and downs within the sport, and he was lovely and gave me a nice answer. And once I thought, God, if I've got through a Michael Schumacher interview, everything's got to be easier from here.
Okay, so you can kind of imagine how I feel now, sort of thing, because
listen, you talking to me is nowhere near as intimidating as me talking to Michael Schumacher. Come on.
I tell you, because when I first started this YouTube channel, because I was suffering with anxiety really badly, and I had labyrinthitis. So, somebody told me something really nasty over the phone, which caused me not to speak for like 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, the doctor said to me, "Raz, there's nothing wrong with you mentally. I know you can understand me. Get yourself a camera, talk about Formula One, and then I thought, screw this, I'm gonna put it on YouTube." And this is sort of how it started.
That's amazing. Yeah. Isn't that amazing that sport is such a healer like that? As you've got a passion for something, it can actually help you, with your mental health and your general well-being. That's brilliant. What a lovely story.
Yeah, and then I've been doing the YouTube channel, and I've been doing a lot of collaborations with other YouTubers, and we ended up going off topic basically. So all of a sudden, Mike from F1 Fanatics said to me, "Why don't you do it into a chat show? Why don't you do it into a show sort of thing?" And then I saw, nobody would be willing to talk to me, but here we are. So
yeah, on that one, of course, everyone wants to talk to you. And again, it goes back to what I was saying about this shared passion that Formula One really does stretch its arms around the world and brings people together, and it's lovely.
I mean, it's like I really love the sport. I've been watching since I was 6 years old, and I'm 36 nearly now. On the 19th of August, so I've been watching it for a while. But what do you think about the season so far?
Well, it's been amazing, hasn't it? We obviously were very nervous about even being able to go racing again. I was in Hungary at the weekend, and it's pretty surreal. There's no fans, and we all have to wear masks, and we have to socially distance. We have to stay in our own bubbles. But the fact is that they've done a brilliant job in just getting everyone racing and providing a huge amount of entertainment and escapism for fans all around the world. And there's a lovely kind of camaraderie and sense of collaboration, and everybody within Formula One knows that we all need each other to make this work, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. So as long as we work hard, we'll keep the racing going. Touch wood, so far so good. And my goodness, that opener in Austria was just sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was one of the best races I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And then again at this weekend, it was a different type of race, but it was interesting to see the different tyre strategies come into play. Obviously, Mercedes are leaps and bounds ahead of everyone at the moment. So it's exciting for us when someone like Max Verstappen puts in the performance that he did. You didn't think that he was even going to take part in the race when he crashed his car, pulling it up onto the grid at the very start. I've certainly never seen that before. And it was astonishing effort from all of his engineers and mechanics to pull that car back to be race fit again. And then that big lunge at the start, and he then held it off for that magnificent podium. I mean, Max is a real superstar. So it was great to see. And long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, how close was it for him not actually starting the race? Because I didn't think he was going to start the race, to be honest.
No, I mean, they reckon that the mechanics did the job in 20 minutes that normally takes over an hour. So how they did that, I mean, there was this amazing aerial shot of them all clambering over his car, all with their own little jobs. And for me, that sort of really shows the teamwork that's required in F1. And it's almost balletic, them just working together to achieve a goal, all just having their own little jobs and getting that little job right. And then the net effect is that the car can go racing. I know Max was blown away by how well his team did, and very grateful for them for doing that. And then he repaid that hard work with an incredible performance. And P2, when they really hadn't been anywhere all weekend, and scratching their heads thinking, what is wrong with this car? The balance is out, oversteer, understeer, there's all sorts of problems. And then to get that podium was just, as he said at the weekend, it felt like a win. And it felt like a victory, because it was a victory for the team. It was a victory for him to even be there. So it's brilliant stuff.
So do you think, how many races do you think we're going to have?
Well, from what I'm hearing, they're looking at sort of 15 or 16, and that's there may be more in Europe than outside, because obviously going to places like South America and Asia and America at the moment may be tricky. So we may end up seeing more and more kind of in Italy, Portugal, Austria, Germany. But look, as long as we can get a season together and there's a world championship, then I think everyone's just very grateful for whatever we can get at the moment.
Yeah. So what's your, because I'm a massive Williams fan, because obviously I'm a Michael Schumacher fan, but I had the pleasure of going to the Williams factory in 2013, unfortunately I didn't get to meet Claire, but because she was in I think it was Abu Dhabi at the time. But I'm really sad. I was really sad when I heard the news that it was that it could be sold, and so what's your take on that?
Well, we just got to hope that whoever does buy them nurtures them in the way that Claire has, and hopefully has their best interests at heart. I'm sure they will. I'm sure that nobody will be allowed to buy the team that doesn't approach it with the same passion and commitment that Claire has done. She's a great woman. She's an incredible role model as a working mum to be back in the paddock, working hard and bringing up her son. And, it was awesome to see their qualifying this weekend. George Russell is a superstar. Nicholas Latifi, another great racer and a great guy. They've got two fantastic fantastic drivers and showed real promise on Saturday. So now what they need to try and work out is how to translate that into race pace, race performance come Sunday. But there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, which, you know, we weren't saying this time last year. So progress has been made.
Yeah, definitely. And the other big news is, I've got to ask you about this because you're in the paddock and you know Formula One more than I do. You know, because you're right in the action. But what do you think about the whole Fernando coming back?
Well, look, I'm a massive fan of Fernando. I think he's box office. I think he can just pull a car around a track. Even if he isn't in the most competitive car, he somehow delivers these incredible performances. He also is great to interview because he never gives short answers. He loves a chat. He kind of gives a lot of detail. So he's a joy for me to interview. I know that there is the argument that says they should have brought in someone from the academy, because that's the whole point of the academy, and to nurture young talent, bring it through the ranks. But they've got a young driver in Esteban Ocon, and I think the experience of someone like Fernando as a double world champion will be so valuable for Esteban and for the team generally. And then, you know, in time they will bring one of their young drivers through, and hopefully the team will be in better shape for having Fernando's guiding hand in the interim.
Yeah, I mean, he is a two-time world champion, and I do think he can help out Renault in the long short term at least. But sadly, it looks as though we're may lose Sebastian Vettel from the grid next.
Possibly, but I mean, it is possible that he will go to Racing Point, and Racing Point have got a very, very quick car at the moment. I think Sebastian's made it clear that he doesn't want to drive just to make up the numbers. He wants to be competitive, and certainly judging by this weekend's performance, Racing Point are looking very, very quick this year. Sebastian's obviously four-time world champion. He's a lovely bloke and he brings a lot to the grid, so it would be great to keep him. But even if he did go, you know, he's delivered some incredible performances over the years, so he's created many happy memories for all of us F1 fans.
So yeah, so if he was going to go to Racing Point, although I think he may end up at Red Bull, because I think Alex Albon might be on icy water. But if he did end up at Racing Point, who do you think he would replace?
Well, I think it's unlikely that Lawrence Stroll would kick his own son out of the team. So as much as I love Sergio Perez and he's a great racer, I think he would be the one that would have to make way. But, you know, who knows? It's like a game of musical chairs, isn't it? The music stops and everyone needs to sit down and there aren't enough seats. But I'm a big fan of Alex Albon. I think he's had a bit of bad luck, and I think he is a great racer and he just needs the support to really blossom. I don't think that he is out of his depth. I think he is definitely good enough to be there. He just needs a few more things to go his way. And, you know, he got a strong performance this weekend, P13 up to P5. Was a very strong drive, and I don't think we should lose sight of that. Anyone being measured against Max is going to have a bit of a hard time because he's so brilliant. But Alex is quick and he's a good racer and he's a good bloke. So I hope he stays around for a long time.
I do as well, actually. Do you think Carlos Sainz is regretting his decision to go to Ferrari?
Well, I asked him that very question this weekend because I think there's a bit of a danger of us all sort of falling in love with the glamour and the romance of Ferrari, and actually suddenly we have to ask ourselves whether they are the most competitive place to take your career. You know, that McLaren with a Mercedes engine is going to be a pretty potent force next year. I think Daniel Ricciardo is going to be a very good fit with that team, and you know, be a very good fit with Lando Norris. So I'm looking forward to their antics, and I'm looking forward to seeing Daniel in a more competitive car. Look, I don't think there's a driver on the grid that wouldn't take the call from Ferrari and accept an invitation to drive for them. It's a magnificent team, a great brand, and I'm sure Carlos will do very well there. He gets on very well with Charles Leclerc, and I think they will be a very exciting pairing.
Yeah, I mean, my only worry is that he's going to be made to play water boy to Charles Leclerc, sort of thing.
You know what, we said the same about Charles with Seb, didn't we? And look what happened there. I mean, it's all down to the driver. You know, Charles came in and hit the ground running and incredibly well. And if Carlos does the same, you know, who knows? Who knows what will happen with team orders? Carlos is a very, very talented young driver, but he's got experience now, so he's a more complete driver. So I think he'll do very well.
Yeah, so yeah, we can only wait and see, can't we? But overall, who do you think is the best Formula One driver of all times?
Oh, that's a big question. Oh, I've always been a massive Ayrton Senna fan, but I never saw him race in the flesh. You know, I was too young to travel, and so I mean, based on my own experience, it has to be Lewis Hamilton, because you know, he's done incredible things. He somehow just seems to find that little bit more each time. Every time the pressure's heaped on, rather than make mistakes, he makes moves stick, and he's exceptional, and he's doing great things outside the sport as well for the greater good of humanity. And he's a good person with a big heart, and he's a great racer. So I'm going to go Lewis.
I tell you what, that's probably not going to happen, but do mention my name to him, and if he ever got a spare half hour, let me know. And then
you never know. He's a kind man. So if he can if he can make the time, you never know.
But you know, that would be just awesome. But anyway, you know, for me, as I said, I'm a massive Michael Schumacher fan. But I can't, you know, although I would be massively sad if he does lose all the records, I can't deny that what Lewis has done is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, and as you said, I think he's an incredible human being. And I mean, I've not met him, unlike you. Would love to meet him, actually. I would love to meet you for that, man. But, you know, it's how long do you reckon he's still going to be in the sport?
Who, Lewis?
Yeah.
So I think that he will. I mean, who knows? He's still performing at the highest level. His pole at the weekend was exceptional, and his win was you know, just seamless. So you know, whilst he's still doing this, you know, you can't suggest for a minute he should retire. I think he should just keep going. Whilst he's performing, he should be in there at the sharp end and pulling in great wins and creating great memories for all of us.
Yeah. So you know, final question for you. What is it like to interview Kimi Räikkönen? Because he doesn't seem to talk a lot, does he?
You know, it's I get asked this one a lot, and Kimi has got a good sense of humour. It's just that I think he gets a bit bored being at the racetrack, being asked the same questions, and I probably would be as well. Like if I've just crashed out of a race, last thing I want is someone like me shoving a microphone up their nose. But he's you know, he's been a great asset to the sport, and
Yeah.
one occasion where I did some ice racing with him in Russia.
Yeah, I saw that on you.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, you should watch this on YouTube, because I didn't exactly cover myself with glory. I broke it. I broke his car. I crashed it, and sort of wrote it off. And it's the most I've ever heard him laugh. He was brilliant. He just obviously liked the fact that I was useless at driving on ice. But no, he's a good bloke, and we're lucky to have him. I'm glad he's still in the sport.
Yeah, so I'm so glad we could make this time today. It really does mean a lot to me, and because as I said, I just love the sport. I never would have expected anyone to agree to this, but it really made my day. So cheers, Nat.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk to you. Keep in touch.
We will, and maybe because I can't travel that well, I can't because I'm in a wheelchair. But maybe one day you can come up to Stafford.
Oh, that would be great. I know where to drop off for a cup of tea. Just make sure you make it and not me, okay?
Okay. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this, Natalie. You know that, don't you?
Least I can do. Pleasure's all mine, honestly. Thank you, Raz.
All right, and keep in touch. And actually, if you do, tell all your friends about what we do, my channel, and then hopefully I can get some more people on maybe. Because how have I done today? All right.
You've been brilliant. I will spread the word.
And yeah, I'll let you know when this comes out, and then if you can retweet it and share it and stuff, and because I've been trying to get Damon Hill on as well. So
okay.
But I haven't had any responses from him yet. So but it's been a blast, and keep in touch. And I mean that if you ever around Stafford, keep in touch, and I would love to thank you in person because it really means a lot to me. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. Look after yourself.
I will. Cheers, darling. Cheers, darling. Bye.